Free play coming your way in just a moment on Tampa Bay and Detroit. But of course, NBA free agency opened here last night, and already some head-scratching moves. I just don't get it. What are the Lakers thinking going out and giving, overpaying in reality, in a 4-year deal, Timothy Mozgov, who, of course, was nothing more than a bench warmer in the second half of the season with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Why did he hit the Pines? Because the Cavaliers wanted to be more athletic. They wanted to increase the tempo of play, especially when Black was fired and Lou took over. So it was more beneficial to them to play Tristan Thompson at the center spot, right? You got the transition game going, and he was equally as good of a rebounder as the more slow-footed Mozgov. So the Lakers go out and they get Luke Walton as their head coach, right? You went out and you got Brandon Ingram, good shooter. You already got DeMarco Russell back there at the point guard position, coming back for a second year. You're re-signing Jordan Clarkson. What do you want to add? A slow-footed center who is more efficient in a half-court game and overpaying him as well. Now, I know they wanted, like everybody else, Hassan Whitehead, who produces some nice numbers, but from what you read, isn't exactly one of the all-time great teammates to have around. But, of course, Whiteside announces that he's going to return to the Heat. And, hey, listen, if the Heat have him in full, and this is a huge if Chris Bosh is cleared to play and can play a full season, well, who knows? I mean, the Heat can certainly be competitive again. But it all comes down to whether or not they're going to be able to re-sign Dwayne Wade. Jeremy Lin, going back to the Brooklyn Nets. Listen, when you're the Nets and you, because of your previous regime with Billy King as general manager, traded away your future for a win-now mode, which got you nothing except over-the-age players like Pierce and Garnett and Joe Johnson, well, what do you got to lose? I mean, Jeremy Lin was very good in a reserve role for Charlotte. Is it going to be Linsanity like it was when he was with New York a few years back? I don't think so. But listen, considering what they had in the backcourt, it's certainly an upgrade. I mean, Jarrett Jack, Jeremy Lin, yeah, I'll take the latter in that one. I don't understand the Portland Trailblazers. Chandler Parsons, pre-18 knee injuries, I thought was going to be one of those guys, a 6'10 guy who was going to give you 15 points, 8 rebounds a game, maybe even more on the point side. Good all-around player. You saw what happened in Dallas. He just couldn't stay healthy. But he's going to get a max deal by Portland. If I'm Chandler Parsons, I'm calling the Trailblazers and saying, hey, send me the paperwork by FedEx. Let me sign ASAP before I re-injure my knee again for the 22nd time. The Pacers, love the moves that Larry Bird has making. You know, I thought Larry Bird was a little nuts when Vogel was forced out. They brought in Nate McMillan, and, the first shoe to drop was going out and stealing Jeff Teague from Atlanta, a guy who not only is a good quarterback for your team, a much better shooter, a penetrator than George Hill was, who had been manning the point guard spot, but also gave them another scorer to complement Paul George, who was asked to do too much, especially playing out of position at the 4 spot. George is a natural 3. Then they stole Thad Young. Not a superstar, but Thad Young, you put him in there at the other forward spot. He's going to get you, with steady playing time, probably 13.7 rebounds a game. But now they're on the cusp of signing Al Jefferson, who really didn't have a role with Charlotte here in the past couple of years, and, of course, has battled injuries as well to his foot. They're going to get Al Jefferson probably on a 3-year deal, which is not a bad move financially. So now suddenly you have 2 more big guys up front to take some of the pressure off of Paul George. You have another scorer in Jeff Teague. Jefferson is a scorer. Thad Young can be a steady 13-7 guy. The Pacers have really, I thought, done the best job at reshaping themselves here in the early stage of free agency and coming out of the draft based on the move they made with getting Jeff Teague in a trade involving some picks. Of course, the Knicks going out to get Derrick Rose. Now it looks like they're going to go ahead and get Noah, his former Bulls teammate. Noah will certainly give the Knicks a more menacing post-present than Robin Lopez did. But the question with Noah, is he going to be healthy? You know those feet. I mean, you got to wonder. You see the Hornets went out and re-signed Batum to the big deal. I mean, listen, his ankle injury late in the regular season and the postseason, that's what really cost them from advancing in the playoffs. But he was such a key contributor when they got him from the Portland Trailblazers. So just a couple of the moves that are today. Detroit signs Ish Smith. I love that name, Ish Smith. Hey, what's your name? I'm Ish Smith. Anyway, did a good job with the 76ers for a second year last year. But listen, Ish Smith is nothing more than a backup point guard. It's an interesting move by the Pistons because they got rid of Jody Meeks, okay? And Meeks was the first guy that Stan Van Gundy brought in 2 years ago. Battled injuries both of his years with the Pistons, but he brought him in because he's a good three-point shooter, and he wanted to open up and make some space down low for all his bigs. Now, Smith is not a good shooter. Matter of fact, he's a dreadful shooter at times. Forget about him popping the three ball. But as a backup point guard to Reggie Jackson, he's perfect because Jackson likes to accelerate the tempo. So does Smith. Smith is a good passer. Listen, the 76ers were not good over the past 2 years, but they were a hell of a lot better team when Nerlens Noel and the guys got the ball where they needed it, and that's what Smith can give you. And I think he can give them 20 minutes a game. And he's a perfect backup guy for Reggie Jackson. So that leaves you with Kevin Durant, who you got to be crazy if you don't go back and sign with Oklahoma City. I mean, just nuts. You know, you look and you go to the Warriors. Okay, now you go to the Warriors and you're going to be just one of the guys. Okay? Now, true, you are one of two guys with the Thunder with Westbrook, but you got Klay Thompson, you got Steph Curry, you got Draymond Green, you got Kevin Durant, and by the time they're done with the salary cap, they won't be able to afford anybody else to give you a complimentary lineup. Ask how that has gone for the Clippers' big three, who ironically were trying to lure Durant as well. So we'll continue to update the, because I just find this fascinating. This is better than any rotisserie league, any fantasy league you could possibly be in. I mean, I just think this is just a fascinating time of the year. You see it in baseball as too, but it's much more compact free agent frenzy in terms of the signing season for the NBA. And you see some of these general managers who I truly believe they are playing fantasy because they go out and they sign these guys based on the numbers on their stat sheet. And sometimes you wonder, do they really, like Mozgov, do they really look at how that player is going to fit into their system and what the other players you're going to surround them with? Makes no sense sometimes. Listen, guys, I'm going to go with the Tigers tonight once again with Michael Fulmer because I've been riding the Tigers with Michael Fulmer for weeks. Now, Fulmer, of course, are giving him a little extra rest. They want to conserve his innings. He last pitched at home against Seattle back on May 22nd. Only lasted 4 1/3 innings before being staked with a big lead in that one. Had a shaky fifth, had to be pulled, didn't even earn the win. But the bottom line is this. He is 5-1 with a 0.61 earned run average in his last 7 starts. Already faced Tampa Bay at home back on May 21st, a career-high 11 strikeouts and 1 run ball and 7 innings of work. Drew Smiley going for Tampa today. Former Tigers farmhand, started his career in the Detroit organization. 0-4 in 6 home starts at Tropicana Field with a 4.34 earned run average. On the year, his ERA is even worse, 5.32. And you look at his pitching line. 89.2 innings pitched, right? 91 hits. 19 of those 91 hits, nearly little more than 1 in 5, have been a home run, and he's also walked 20. So that's 111 base runners and 89.2 innings of work. Dreadful in his last start against Baltimore on Sunday. 5 innings he worked, 10 hits, 8 runs, 3 homers in that contest. 0-2 lifetime in 2 starts against his old team with a 5.56 earned run average. Tigers last night entered the 9th inning down 7-2. They rallied for the 10-7 win. Rays have lost 13 of their last 15. The Tigers have now won 3 straight and scored 27 runs in the process. I'm going to go with Detroit. Even though the Tigers are not a good road team this season, hey, listen, they're playing better ball than Tampa Bay. Losers again of 13 of their last 15. That'll do it, guys. I wish you well, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.